On many occasions, we have discussed what Citizens United ruling has done to our democracy. It has allowed unlimited sums of money to be funneled into campaigns. This was specifically designed to corrupt our political process. So recently, 60 Minutes did an expose that pulled the curtain back on the process that is used by congressmen to fundraise. So the focus of this expose was United States Congressman David Jolly. And so Jolly was elected by a special election in 2014 to Congress. Later on that year in November, he faced a re-election bid. So he got some advice from a party leader, Republican Party leader, on what he should do to fundraise. I guess what he learned shocked him. So what did he learn?
Well, he learned that he would have to spend an exorbitant amount of his time in a booth, making phone calls, soliciting donations from, different contacts. And I think the target amount was like 250, 500, or 1,000. And they're not allowed to solicit, for donations in a government building. So what they do is they set up these call centers. Yeah.
So Democrats have a call center, have them, and Republicans have a call center too. And the instructions he was given was to raise about $18,000 per day, and to spend about 30 hours per week just on fundraising. That doesn't sound like a congressman's job. What does that sound like to you?
It sounds like a telemarketer.
Sounds like a telemarketer.
I mean, I think Representative Steve Israel said he's probably spent a total of 4,000 hours.
Wow.
Total fundraising. Not doing legislative work, but fundraising.
My gosh. They even have a script. This is telemarketing. They have a script to go by, and 60 Minutes, they obtained a copy of this, and it looks like, okay, they have rebuttals. Anybody that has worked in telemarketing, I have when I was a kid, they have scripts, okay? If the person that you're talking to says this, you say this. If they say this, okay, you pivot to this. This is exactly what they do. Exactly. They are salesmen on the phone. They are telemarketers. Now, were you surprised when you learned this information?
No. And I wasn't surprised to find out like how many politicians on his side supported the bill he tried to introduce in February. I think that was called the Stop Act.
The Stop Act,
where it was trying to ban federally elected officials from soliciting donations directly.
Right.
And only 6 of his colleagues signed on.
Not surprising whatsoever. Yeah. So he can't even go into the building because 60 Minutes wanted to go into the building and they were asking him if he could get them in. And he was like, no, well, I can't even get in there probably because he doesn't pay his dues. So to use the building to fundraise, you have to pay your dues. And what does that mean? That means you have to fundraise for the party as well. And he's not doing that because he's like, man, this is ridiculous. This is corrupt. I'm not doing it. So he can't even get in. I mean, look, I have to give him credit. I do have to give him credit because it's not often that you will see Republicans go against Citizens United because they were all for it.
And publicly.
Yes, and public too. He introduced the Stop Act. So I have to give him a lot of credit for that. But again, this wasn't surprising at all. How else were they going to raise all this money? How else were they going to do it? People were just going to give it to him? No. Because of Citizens United, they ramped up their efforts because now it's unlimited funds. It's a party now. We have no cap. We can raise as much money as we want to. So they spend hours on end just soliciting donations. And does anybody wonder why this Congress is probably like the least productive?
Exactly. What was the percentage?
their approval rating was in the teens, I think.
14%.
14%. Oh my God.
So it's like, well, maybe they're spending their time doing other things. So
instead of working for the American people.
Yeah, we're wondering why they're not getting anything done.
Look, let's take an issue like gun reform, right? There is significant consensus on universal background checks. Significant. I think it's up to like 90%, something like that. The American people want it. Congress has not moved an inch on that. Not an inch. Maybe they're fundraising. Maybe they don't even care. Maybe they're just care. Maybe their job is not to represent the American people. Their job is to get reelected. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, man. I'm just spitballing. Maybe that's it. You know?
No. I mean, that's accurate. That is very accurate. Their job is to keep their party in power.
Right.
So it's not just about their reelection. It's just to keep their party in power.
Right.
Plain and simple.
That's why the need to get money out of politics is so important. Because if we don't, they don't work for us. They just don't. They work for themselves.
And I think it's even worse when you have a whole swath of I guess members of one party get into their positions regardless of Democrat or Republican. So when people question why things can't change fast enough, that's because they're electing party members. They're not electing individuals. They're electing people that are allegiant to the party. So when things can't change fast enough, why do people think that is? It's because everyone in the party is being kind of recruited together.
Right. And they're all looking at the same playbook. They're all doing the same things. It's this guy David Jolly. He's going against the grain.
He's going against the grain, but he doesn't have any support.
No, he doesn't.
And I think he's running for what?
Yeah, well, he's running for Senate in Florida. So he's
taking time to take Marco Rubio's position.
Right.
And I think they said he was actually polling like higher than his primary opponents.
Oh, really?
But they said that it would probably take him raising $100 million to win.
I mean, this is just dumb. It's just ridiculous. Anybody that doesn't see that we need this big money out of politics is naive as you can be.
Yeah, because the big money is what's keeping our politics the same.
Right. It's keeping progress at bay. We're waiting on it, but we're waiting on it while big money is still in play. While Citizens United is still here. No, nothing's going to get done. So for instance, when Bernie Sanders talks about Citizens United and Hillary Clinton tries to portray him as a one-issue candidate, you know what? There is one issue that impacts all the rest. And it is big money in politics. Without removing that from our political scene, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. Because what did they spend their time doing? Telemarketing.